The stories and photos on the pages of Nostalgia magazine show glimpses of life in the inland Northwest from years gone by. From home life, school days, and the workplace, you can relive a style of life that we all loved and cherished. Call today to subscribe, 443-3678, or visit us online at nostalgiamagazine.net. Nostalgia Magazine. Ageless stories, ageless photos. Welcome to Let's Talk Spokane, where host Ryan McNeese seeks out and discusses the latest on a variety of hot local topics. Now, here's your host, Ryan McNeese.
Welcome to Let's Talk Spokane. I'm Ryan McNeese, and in the studio is Lynda Hall, and we are very fortunate to have Lynda here today with us. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Lynda is here today, and we wanted to get her on the show because she's very involved in the supporting of Christ's Kitchen, and we're going to circle back around. One of the really exciting events that just occurred is the cook-off, or not the cook-off, but the gingerbread competition at the Davenport Hotel. Mm-hmm. And you have participated significantly in that over the last 6 years. Tell us what the support of, we'll come back to the competition, but with the support of Christ's Kitchen, tell us what the mission is of Christ's Kitchen.
Christ's Kitchen is a wonderful local organization started by a woman named Jen Martinez, and she works with women in poverty in Spokane, and her mission and her heart's desire
Mm-hmm.
is to teach them job skills so that they can go out into the community and find employment so that they can take care of themselves. So wow. They meet in the facility and they learn food handling skills.
And where is that facility?
It is on Monroe.
Monroe, and mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. Isn't it right fairly close to the PBS or KX?
I believe
KSPS
that it is.
Station, I believe. Yeah. And how, in general, with the mission of Christ's Kitchen, how do folks that are in need of those services usually find it? How is that connection made?
It's very interesting. They find their way into those doors in very unusual ways. One woman just was sitting next to somebody on a bus one day and could tell she needed some help, and they ended up getting off at Christ's Kitchen, and she ended up being there. Sometimes they find their way in through corrections facilities, mm-hmm. or
so folks within the corrections facility mm-hmm. Are kind of armed with that information mm-hmm. that pass it along. Mm-hmm. That's a powerful story, though, with the bus scenario that literally got off at that stop and was able to get the assistance.
Right.
Is there a standard length of the training, if you will, to allow the person to work their way back into the community, or is it different for all different folks?
I believe it would be different for all different folks, just depending on their basic skills and what they need to learn. It's and what skills they want to be mm-hmm. able to take out into the community with them. Some of them it's easier to transition out into the community, and some of them they need a little
extra
more
time.
Love. Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's a good point I think you're making. I asked the question, what's the standard time? But I guess it does, in fact, depend on the individual that comes in and says, I want to do A mm-hmm. versus B mm-hmm. versus C, and then they probably tailor mm-hmm. The program to them. How did you first become aware of Christ's Kitchen?
It was a crazy, crazy thing. I went down to the Davenport Hotel on the day they were having a gingerbread build contest.
Really?
And I spent the entire day watching what they were doing with this gingerbread build contest, and I thought, okay, it's a very backdoor entrance for us to be involved with Christ's Kitchen. I thought, you know what, I think that our family should enter this contest. And the more we found out about Christ's Kitchen and what they were doing, the more our family felt like we wanted to be involved with helping raise funds for them and helping to make a difference in these women's lives.
Really felt an attachment to it. And that's exciting because, you saw the competition immediately. I think you identified something that really resonated with you, and you jumped right in. Well, as we mentioned, I think at the very beginning of the show, you've been involved with the competition personally for 6 years?
6 years, yep.
Was it 6, 7 years ago when you first saw it, or even longer ago than that?
Nope, I was at the Davenport, and I was watching these chef teams work, and I was there literally 3 hours just circling and watching and circling and watching.
Just mesmerized.
I was totally, I'm sure they thought I was a stalker, but because I was there all the time. And before I left, I called my husband on the phone and I said, we need to do this. So I'm still at the Davenport Hotel, and I'm saying, we need to do this.
And what was Rustin thinking? And Rustin, for our listeners, is an architect and a very good one, and has been for years. So quite frankly, hearing the fact that you both are creating these unbelievable creations, it actually makes a lot of sense. You guys have the skills to be doing this.
Well, yes and no. At the time, they were pairing chefs and restaurant owners and bakeries with architects. And we are neither a chef or a restaurant owner or a bakery. And the reality is we'd never even baked a piece of gingerbread.
I love that part of the story.
When we started the competition. In fact, I kind of left that out when I called and asked if we could be part of the competition. I said, hi.
When they conveniently asked, do you know what you're doing?
Yeah, they didn't
You left
ask.
that part out?
Yeah. I said, I have an architect, and he's willing to come alongside and help us. And
they said, good enough for us.
Yeah. And then I had to call and get a recipe for gingerbread.
Oh, my gosh. I actually really am fascinated by that part of the story, because I think there's many different things in folks' lives that you engage with and are drawn to that you, quite frankly, might not have the backstory to be doing, but you immediately know it's something you should be a part of. And I think the way you tell the story, that you were just there as an observer, you immediately knew, without a doubt, I'm going to call my husband, and I think we should be involved in it. I think that's the passion that's exciting to hear. So let's jump into 6 years ago. They've let you in the door, so to speak, even though you didn't maybe have the restaurant, bakery background. Let's talk about year number 1, when once you have picked out the gingerbread recipe. Is this all baked at your home?
Right. We bake it in our home kitchen, so all of our pieces are limited by the size that we can fit in our home oven.
Okay.
And that is a constraint my husband really doesn't like. But
doesn't want to be limited.
No, he doesn't want to be limited at all. But we bake everything in our home kitchen. I basically shut down our home kitchen about 10 days before the event. Nobody gets anything.
Do not enter into this area.
Do not.
Do you rope it off?
Practically. And we don't cook anything else.
Yeah.
That's it. And we really don't have time to cook anything else during that.
Well, and I think I asked you the other day when we were chatting about this a little bit, that the rules don't constrain the ability to, you, I guess in a sense, could purchase large gingerbread items and then cut them down to size. But I think you take it to a whole nother level, and it is done in your home kitchen.
And I think,
like that.
Yeah, I think most of the competitors do that.
Okay.
I think that they bake in their bakeries or their restaurants, and I know some of them bake in large sheets and then saw them and that kind of thing. But Rustin's... Our family, when we get together and we come up with this design, every piece is individual, and it's often a specific color of gingerbread, or it's textured, or cut to a specific size, because as an architect, everything is precise.
Right.
And so, he makes a pattern piece based on our design, and he hands it to me, and I roll out the dough, and we cut it.
So
and
all
we
parts
bake it.
come from that, scaled off of that. It's so interesting and impressive, actually, would be the word. And I've had an opportunity over the last couple of years to see, obviously, your work and Rustin's work and the family's work, but the other competitors as well. And it's nothing short of right off the cooking channel. I mean, what you guys are creating and your competitors is mesmerizing.
It's
amazing.
Really
is.
Yeah, and the different spin that people put on the themes that they have every year and what they bring, and it's always inspiring to see what all the teams bring.
And all of that energy is to raise funds and support for Christ Kitchen. So again, so glad you came into the studio today to chat about promoting Christ Kitchen, but we're also obviously talking and drilling down on the competition, because that's where you found your passion to play a part in Christ Kitchen. And let's also talk about how you brought the whole family into this, because over the 6 years, tell us about that. Everybody's been involved.
Sure. We have 3 sons, and sorry, they are all involved. And now we have our daughter-in-law is involved, and a girlfriend is involved, and we do it strictly as a family team, and everybody gets a say in what the project is. We talk about it at dinner a lot.
Yeah, how do you come up with, tell us, if you could, over the last 6 years, what the themes have been.
Sure. So the first year that we were involved, the theme was Disney World.
Okay.
Which was super fun. We had a lot of directions we wanted to go, but we ended up doing Cinderella's Castle. It was super fun. I mean, the projects are 3 feet by 5 feet by at least 2.5 feet tall.
Okay, so that's the box, if you will, they got to be in.
So they can be 3 by 3, but often ours are 3 feet by 5 feet. This year's project ended up being a little over 4 feet tall.
And I think until people see that, that's big.
It's huge.
That's a lot of gingerbread.
It
I mean,
is.
someone says 4 feet. I don't think you can necessarily, till you see it sitting there at the Davenport.
Right. So then the second year, the theme was family vacation. And we did this really whimsical take on our own family's trip to Yellowstone National Park. And
That's a great idea.
It was super fun. And we did that whole vacation thing where the vehicle that we were driving, we wish we had a Woody, but it was this Woody, and it had everything you could possibly want. Everything from a bowling ball and a tent and a canoe and everything crammed in skis. It was crazy, crammed onto this. And the story was that we were so busy looking for Old Faithful that my husband actually drove the vehicle off the path, and we ended up on top of a spinning Old Faithful geyser. So that project spun.
Oh my gosh, almost like National Lampoon's Vacation.
Very much, very, very much like that. And we had the lodge and all the different icons from Yellowstone. Let's see, the third year was superheroes, and they wanted to do superhero Christmas, and our family struggled with that one quite a bit, and ended up realizing that there are people in our community who are heroes.
Right.
So we put a little bit different spin on it, and we made this creation that was a very large Christmas tree that rotated, but around the outside was what we called our true superheroes, and that's what we ended up calling that project. And it was firefighters, police officers, military, and offering the gift of protection. It was our medical, for healing and all of those different things.
These are our local superheroes.
Yes, superheroes, our everyday superheroes. And then we decorated the tree with all the fun, whimsical superheroes, Batman and all of that kind of stuff. So that
made the theme local.
Yep.
Let's take a quick little break and come right back with Lynda Hall talking about Christ Kitchen and the gingerbread competition. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
In touch, online all the time. SpokaneTalksOnline.com. I would like to tell you about our new sponsor, Stay Fierce Senior Fitness. Stay Fierce offers conditioning programs and personal training designed specifically for seniors. Owner and certified personal trainer Tim Brummett is himself 64 years old and has lost over 150 pounds in the last 3 years, so he knows how to work with seniors to get in shape. All workouts are in a private facility, not a big, busy gym. Just Tim and his clients. Visit StayFierceFitness.net to learn more. That's StayFierceFitness.net. Of course you can do it. Stay fierce. In study after study, money is often cited as one of the top conflict points in a marriage. Finances can be an emotional topic for couples, especially when money is tight. So it pays to get in the habit of discussing it on a regular basis, even if you keep separate finances. At stcumoney.org, find 6 tips for making the conversation easier.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. How? By caulking their windows, programming their thermostats, replacing their incandescent light bulbs with LEDs. Simple things, really. But the energy they saved was enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
Welcome back. This is Let's Talk Spokane. I'm Ryan McNeese, and I'm here with Lynda Hall, representing the Christ Kitchen as far as the gingerbread competition. And we were talking about the 6 years that Lynda and her family have been involved. There's been 6 significant themes for their gingerbread build. And I think we were just jumping in number 4. What was year number 4?
So year number 4 was Wonders of the World, 7 Wonders of the World. And we chose to do the Great Wall of China. And we put a little bit different spin on it.
Was that 3 years ago? I specifically remember that one,
3
which was
years
amazing.
ago. Yes. The story that goes along with the Great Wall of China is it was built where dragons walk. So our Great Wall of China transformed into an animated dragon. And it was pretty fun to see it kind of become a dragon out of the wall. And we had the pagodas and all of that. That was super fun.
So. I just remember the wall. The actual detail on the wall was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. And it was super fun, too, because our youngest son wanted to help us figure out how to make that wall look pristine.
Right.
And so he developed a specific tool for us to use in texturing the gingerbread so that it would have the right stripes and we would get the perspective of distance and then coming forward. So we just, he saw the need and put that together for us, and that was super fun.
But I think that's a piece of the puzzle, literally, that you've been illustrating and talking about today, is this has really been a family affair, that you're all engaged, and it sounds like in terms of a hierarchy of how things get done, kind of gravitates towards people and their interests and their expertise, but everybody has a say. Everybody has a say, absolutely, especially in the initial portions of it and the design. We find that if everybody is invested in the design, it really goes much better. Well, and I think, folks will see that you guys are a very talented family, and they will see this specifically in how these projects have turned out. So 5th year. Mm-hmm. 5th year, the theme was Christmas movies. Yep. And we paired up with Ponderosa Elementary School. Mm-hmm. They wanted to have their Christmas project involve Christ Kitchen. So their choir sang songs for us that we played along with our entry, as well as they raised money for us. And so our project that year was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Okay. And it was a super fun year for us. We, my husband figured out how to make shaped molded gingerbread so like all of our reindeer were shaped gingerbread, which is so that's almost the idea, folks that listen to the cooking channel, kind of a fondant of gingerbread. I mean, is that the ability to mold the product? Well, a fondant is more of a frosting, and it's very moldable, kind of like Play-Doh. Right. Gingerbread is not that forgiving. No, it doesn't seem like it would be. Yeah, anytime you try and make it do something other than flat, it really doesn't like that very much. But he figured out, and we just experimented. That's the thing, is we don't know what we don't know, so we don't know if it shouldn't work or if it should work. We just try. But that's kind of exciting. It is kind of goes with the theme. You're willing to give it a go. It does. So that was super fun. We had a wonderful abominable snowman that was 47 batches of Rice Krispie treat covered in cotton candy. I mean, it was super fun, and it was great to be able to talk to the kids about how to use your gifts to make a difference for other people. And that was one of the reasons that we really wanted to pair up with the elementary school. Is whether it's Christ's Kitchen or whether it's baking or whether it is another organization and you're running or volunteering or collecting food or whatever your passion is, that was really the message we wanted to give those kids. Well, I think that's certainly what comes through with the projects. And then year 6. 6th. There's just now. Yes, just this last Sunday, absolutely. And the theme was best Christmas best Christmas present ever. And our project was entitled The Greatest Gift of All. And it is a nativity. Well, it's impressive. I've seen pictures, and that's a piece I want to make sure that our listeners heard is where can they go see this year's competitors' projects?
Sure. All the projects are on display at the Davenport Grand Hotel.
Okay,
and will be through Christmas. Yes, the Grand.
Okay.
On the main level.
And it's all the way through Christmas Day? Okay. Well, I certainly would highly encourage people to go see all the competitors. The ideas that folks come up with and then their ability to execute on it is phenomenal.
Amazing. We've learned so much from just watching the other competitors over the years and seeing what they're doing and giving it a try ourselves.
Well, and I obviously wanted to have an opportunity to chat with you and have our listeners hear the significant dedication that it takes. I think within our community, there's many, many wonderful organizations, and Christ Kitchen is one of those. You certainly have put a lot of effort, and your family has put a lot of effort into this. Give our listeners a sense of how much time your family has put in each of these respective years. Because I think folks would think, oh, you built a gingerbread, good for you. Thanks for participating. This is much, much more than that.
Right. From the time we really start baking gingerbread, well, my husband and I each take a week off from work. We use a week of vacation to be able to do these projects. And so about 10 days before the event is really when the bulk of the baking and everything starts happening. And we're probably in our kitchen 18 hours a day.
I mean, that's just phenomenal.
Yeah. It's a lot. And probably because we only have, our home kitchen to be able to do things. But that's what allows us to get some of that detail is just working on it like that.
And you both are taking a week off. What about the respective kids in terms of their commitment?
Yes. So whenever they're sitting still, they're helping us. And they come over when they're not working after work. And we had one son and his girlfriend fly over from Seattle so that they could help us on the day of the event, because your project is parts and pieces when you get there on the morning of the event, and you have 3 hours to transform it from a basic base into what you see on display.
Well, that's a question that comes to mind to me is the transport alone. How do you transport that? How do you guys do that?
Sure. It is always at least 3 vehicles that come from our house, at least 3 vehicles.
You need one of those big bakery box trucks.
Wouldn't that be
that
fabulous?
Could be the future of the Hall family gingerbread competition.
Well, last year and this year we did have to rent a van, like a small transport van, because we got a little overzealous with our project and it wouldn't fit in the back of our Suburban anymore.
I love it.
So, yeah.
And a Suburban's got a lot of space, so I think it does show you the overzealousness. That's great.
Yeah, it was super fun. So,
well, how else can folks get involved with Christ Kitchen? I think again with a lot of organizations, there's different ways. There's donating your monetary resources, your time. In your case, actually, obviously, a lot of both in this particular case. How can folks get involved with Christ Kitchen and find out more about what they're doing?
Sure. Christ Kitchen is not just a training facility, but they offer a lot of prepackaged soups and mixes and things like that. You can find them in some of the stores. I saw it in River Park Square over the weekend, and those make wonderful gifts. And as you purchase those, you're employing those women because that's one of the things they do is make up
That's
those
one
kits.
of their projects. Okay.
You can go to Christ Kitchen and have lunch, and they will serve you lunch, and it's super yummy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'd like to take my kids there. I like that.
Right. And then you can also, if you're a business or an organization or somebody having a meeting, you can have boxed lunches brought in. Best boxed lunches I've ever had, as far as you get a significant meal when you do that. And we've brought them into different meetings on a number of
I'm glad
times.
you're making these points because I think a lot of our listeners would be excited to try this out, whether it be respective businesses or nonprofits, et cetera. It's a way to engage with and reach out with Christ Kitchen.
And then they're always looking for people to come in and help with different projects that they've got going on, whether it's helping to build the little gingerbread houses that the kids get to decorate at the gingerbread build, or if it's working alongside the women and helping with them. You can do a party with a purpose with them, where you go and learn more about their organization, but also you can purchase their items and help the women that way.
Are the women that are involved, do they live on site, or they show up for the individual activities during the day?
Okay. They show up.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that piece. Well, you've come to the end of significant time in this particular project. Do you feel like you can concentrate on Christmas now, or are you worn out?
We're a little worn out, but now we transition.
Yeah.
We don't think about Christmas. We haven't started any decorating or any of those things yet. But that's
you might have to start thinking about that. What are we here, the 14th?
Yeah.
So we're getting there.
I know. And fortunately, the children, they're adults. All of them are adults now. The youngest one is 21, or almost 21, and they understand that, and they've understood that from the time we started, that this is our focus. This is our gift.
Well, and you say your
community.
youngest being 21, that takes you back to being roughly 15.
Right.
So I think that's a real blessing, though, that taking a 15-year-old that's seen what their parents are involved in and are very passionate about that. And I know Joseph at 21 now is very passionate himself and extremely talented. I think those types of lessons are pretty darn impressive. I'm impressed with that myself. You guys have done a phenomenal job over the years with this.
It's been very fun. We've truly enjoyed it.
Well, how could folks, website-wise, how could they reach out and either donate to Christ Kitchen, or, as we spoke about, the opportunities to just be involved with their time?
Sure.
What's the website?
It would be Christ Kitchen.
Okay.
So I just Google search www.christkitchen.
Is it .org or .com?
That's a good question.
And I'm not sure either. As a nonprofit, I'm guessing it's .org. But you know what? We'll look into that and find out.
Right.
But Lynda, appreciate you being here in the studio with us, talking about Christ Kitchen. What a great organization. And also, if our listeners can, go out to the Davenport Grand and check out the gingerbread houses. They're impressive. Thank you, Lynda.
Thank you.
Let's Talk Spokane is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask us a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Thanks for listening.
Kids learn about money from their parents. They know whether you tend to save up for fun purchases or pull out the credit card when temptation strikes. Since they're learning from you, talk to your kids about using their money wisely. Start by admitting your own mistakes, talking about your family budget, and discussing the importance of sharing some of your money with causes that are important to you. There are gentle ways to help them become wise stewards of their own money. To learn more, go to stcumoney.org.
Here's a simple way to stay connected on the go. Join KHQ on Facebook and Twitter and be a part of the conversation. Just like KHQ Local News on Facebook or follow us on Twitter before your next stop. Experience why more people follow KHQ Local News than any other station in the Inland Northwest. Be the first to know about breaking news, weather, and all the stories creating a social media swirl. Sign up, sound off, stay connected. KHQ Local News. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now.